Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishamavadai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We were studying the difference between gaining knowledge and effacing ignorance. The point of this whole thing being that if we really want knowledge, we have no option but to grow up. We can learn a lot of things, I mean, in the sense of information, but we won't get it. Absolutely won't get it. From the level we are, some things will appear in that particular manner. That's that. Now, no argument, no nothing is going to going to make a difference. So, if you are genuine in the pursuit of knowledge, knowledge in the sense of you genuinely want to know what the truth is, if this be your pursuit. With no biases one way or the other. You want to know finally what is the truth. If this be your pursuit, then there is no option but to grow up. And then we studied how from different levels, things will simply appear that you will be so convinced. Each one of us are so convinced that something is right or something is wrong. Like this common thing, okay? So we look upon corrupt people and we say, oh, they're so corrupt. Look at all these guys, taking so much bribes, so whatever it is they're doing. And when we make statements like this, the assumption is always, they are that bad, but I'm a good guy. I'm a very ethical person. I don't do all this rubbish that these people do. Are we ethical just because we don't take bribes? Are we ethical just because we haven't murdered people? It's such a long journey home to even find out, to know what if I did, would it be ethical? Because ethics is not a single point. It's not like this is ethical and this is not ethical. It's an ever-growing sort of horizon. You can always be better. You can always be more virtuous. You can always be more. Every action can get better and better. And when you meet very, very cultured people, you see how fine they are. Like simple things, if somebody does something wrong, what an instinct we have to criticize them. But a very fine cultured gentleman or lady won't say anything. You may have noticed that. They won't say anything. You have to keep quiet. The maid makes some mistake, you jump on her. The spouse makes some mistake, you jump on them. Children make some mistake, you jump on them. At every stage, we could be better. As we exist today, can we not be so much better? And yet our attention is on what the other wrong things other people are doing. We have some paradigms of virtue. So it's time for us to take a step back and at least figure out these things. That at my level, it appears to me like this. When my level changes, what it will appear is different. How do I know that's true? Many years ago, you must have been very confident about some belief. And then over a period of time, you look back and you say, that was stupid of me to think. Why did I think like that? Now, what makes you so sure that few years later, whatever you're saying today, you won't say, that was so stupid? What will your future self say? Nobody knows, right? So, gently. We cannot take this so stringently or strictly, gently. So, okay, is this bit clear that our level makes us see, and until we change that level, we won't see anything else. So the purpose of life is always to change the level. If we are going to keep on trying to gain knowledge, that's not going to work beyond a point. We have to grow up. A child will always see things in that way. When the child grows up, the child will see it in the different. What would not have convinced the child earlier now does not require any convincing. The 7-year-old girl said, I don't want to get married. The 17-year-old girl has run away and gotten married before her parents can stop her. So at 7, nobody can convince her that she should get married. At 17, nobody can convince her that she should not get married. Only growing up solves the problem. So, shall we proceed? And then, of course, we discuss why specific knowledge is hardly going to help in today's world. I mean, it'll help to a point, but not very much. And at the rate of change that is going on, imagine, okay, there's some people who say that at 40, people will have changed 2 careers and 1 spouse. If this will happen at 17, now they do this thing again. Change another few careers and maybe another few spouses. I don't know. And there's all sorts of predictions floating around in this world nowadays. Because our longevity is going to bring out this result. Our longevity and the rapid change. So we need some really good characteristics to be able to handle all the stuff that's going to happen. Not going to happen, it's happening. So,
also, the more we grow up, the less we need the specific knowledge.
Yes, correct. The more we grow up, the less we need the specific knowledge. Correct. Or like for instance,
is it because we can link um, what we are currently facing to other fields? We can look.
Not necessarily. It's just that you have grown up. So you become objective to everything lower than that. Like, what is the 17-year-old? What information does the 17-year-old have different from the 7-year-old that makes the whole desire pattern change? It's not really information. I mean, of course, if you have an intellect and all, you'll make connections, but it's not really that. It is the growth of the intellect or growth of the.
So, yeah, the way a 7-year-old and a 17-year-old looks at the world is different. Is because the growth that has happened in me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so shall we continue? We studied about how careers will change. So, what about what's happening at home? Women who were homemakers will find their nests empty, maybe their husbands leaving them, with the prospect of 50 or 60 years of life ahead of them. It sounds almost like a prophecy of doom. It's not even a prophecy, it is actually happening. I mean, I don't know whether I have a particular, should I say, exposure to all this stuff, because people are very, very upset with this. Imagine you're 55 years old, your husband is the CEO of a company, you are living in the lap of luxury, and you think all's good, and one day he just comes home and he tells you, well, I want a divorce. I mean, nothing for them to even, I mean, there was nothing for her to even have suspected anything. Yes, one day he comes home and he says that. So that's that. So the prospect of another 50 or 60 years of life ahead of her. Children have gone abroad to study. Husband has said he wants a divorce and actually took the divorce. It almost sounds like a prophecy of doom. But this is the result of global development and increased life expectancy. Will this advancement prove to be a curse? No. Not if we have learned the basics which are applicable in all fields. It will fill us with a new enthusiasm and a willingness to see what new adventures life has to offer. To have that resilience means that you're not stuck into your desires so much. If you have, to some extent at least, released this bondage of desires from yourself, I'll say, okay, tu nahi to aur sahi. I mean, I'm not recommending it, but the thing is, you can take life in its stride. You don't have to, collapse each time something goes wrong, because like that, hundreds of things are going to go wrong in life. Well, we just say, oh, that's a sad thing that happened, and move on. If this door is closed, maybe another one is going to open. And if it doesn't open, well, we'll open it ourselves. If all nature and knowledge stem from ignorance of the self, shouldn't we all have the same? We are all ignorant of the self. If all nature and all knowledge only comes from ignorance of the self, then would it not follow that we all have exactly the same nature and also knowledge? Ignorance cannot be differentiated. You don't know, it cannot be differentiated. Technically, one either knows the self reality or one does not. It's like a light switch. It's either on or off. There are only two states. I hope you're getting the question. You can either know the self or not know the self. There only that possibility exists. If only that possibility exists, that means all of us have the same ignorance. if all of us have the same ignorance, and ignorance is the cause of our nature and also the cause of our knowledge, then we should all have the same nature and also same knowledge. As cause is the same, but that's not how it works. The state of deep sleep is the same for everyone. Correct, Deep Raj? But that's what it means. Deep sleep is the same, cause is the same. Ignorance of the self, deep sleep is just another word name for it. So deep sleep is the same, deep sleep is the cause. If the cause is the same, the effect has to be the same. Then how can we have all different natures, different knowledges, different everything? So
The ignorance manifests differently. For example, if you have a rope on the ground, somebody might see it as a snake, somebody might see it as a crack in the ground. So
yes, that will appeal to you right in the beginning, but later on you will think cause is the same, how does the effect change? So here's a possible answer. Nice, bring it back. It's like a light switch, either on or off. There are only two states. And what is the difference? That one can be closer or further away from the light switch. That is the state of knowing. Now, please notice that no matter how far you are from the light switch, either 1 millimeter away or you're at the other end of the room, the darkness is the same for everyone. Okay, you can be very close to the light switch, you can be very far from the light switch, you can be in the middle somewhere. Ignorance is the same for everyone. Then, how does it matter? The darkness will be the same for everyone. So how does it? Okay, so see, there's this tamasic guy, he's very far. The rajasic guy is somewhere in the middle. The sattvic guy is very close to the light switch. But the darkness is common, right, all throughout. The more the vasanas have gotten character, the further one is away, the more the misunderstanding. Since it has in the past been manifesting in a particular way, every time this ignorance manifests, it will manifest in that way. I hope that's clear. Imagine water. Water is being falling. Some water dripping somewhere on a flat ground. Now, as the water spreads, okay, it will start somehow making some channel somewhere. Now, once it starts those channels somewhere, then if more water falls, it will follow those channels and make those deeper in that sense. Okay, so in the past, it has been going in a particular way. So now every time ignorance manifests, it will manifest in that particular way. Different degrees of evolution or development are just different paths. Different degrees of evolution or development are just different paths. Yeah, Deepak Sethi, you had a question?
Janki ji, just one thing. In that darkness metaphor, somebody is closer to the switch. While the darkness is the same for all three people, the sattvic and the tamasic, or the other extreme, and yet we know that things are not the same for the sattvic and the rajasic, and the tamasic, because the level of agitation that the sattvic person has is much, much lower than what the tamasic person or the rajasic person may have. But the level of darkness is the same. So how do you explain this difference being in the same dark room per se? And the room is as dark for all three of them.
That's what we're discussing now at the moment. What happened? That's the whole example of that's what we were just talking about, that if the more the vasanas have gotten character, the further one is away, the more the misunderstanding. Since it has in the past been manifesting in a particular way, every time ignorance manifests, it will manifest in that way. Different degrees of evolution or development are just different paths. The past is different. And so therefore, now whatever their experience is different. Clear?
Yeah, okay.
Now what appears to us as major difference is actually none. Excuse me. It's the same thing. From our perspective, tamas and sattva are very different. That's why we say, no, oh, he's so much worse than me. I'm so much better. Or he's so much better than me. I'm so much worse. From the point of view of the absolute, the same thing. Everyone is in dark, equal dark.
So that was the thrust of my question, that why is it that at our level, we find that there is a big difference between the three levels, and yet from an absolute, it is the same darkness. So why is the difference?
That is how it is, right? Because now take a child, one child, what should I say? I'll give something this children do, you know. One child ran away from his mother. Ran away means they went to the end of the room. Okay. Then another child also ran away from his mother. Right. Now one child is at the other end of the room. One child is out of touching distance. Both have left their mother's hand when they should not have and run there. Okay. Now the guy who is not very far from his mother's hand, which he should not have left in the first place, will say, you know, if his mother reprimands him, he'll say, you know, I'm not so bad. Look at that guy. He's gone so far away. I am still somewhere around you, no? For the child, it makes a difference. The adult says, you are supposed to hold my hand, whether you're 3 feet away or 10 feet away, same story. Come back and hold my hand. So that difference occurs for that level. I mean, at that level, you will feel, oh, no, I am good, he's bad. So these kind of in fact, as we go further away, the distinctions become more and more. We begin to see these differences more and more and more. I am so good and you are so bad. I am so right and you are so wrong. It becomes more and more. And then as you come closer and closer, you begin to see, you know that very famous saying, there but for the grace of God go I. So that the priest saw prisoners being taken to the gallows, and he said, "Dead, but for the grace of God go I." They actually thought there's no difference between. I mean, just a little grace, just a little luck, and I'm here and there. Deep Raj. That creates the question, why did ignorance manifest in that way? There's no answer to that question, Deep Raj, because it's as it's like asking how did it's almost like asking how did the first Vasana come? You can't ask that question. Why did it go in that way? You have Purushartha, you have you do whatever you want. But once you start doing something, it will continue in that. Why did you choose to do it like that? The good Lord alone knows. There's no answer to that question. You chose at one point.
So
Remember,
it was just a choice that gave rise to the Vasa.
sorry?
It was just a choice that gave rise to the Vasa.
No, you chose that.
Okay.
There's no reason. There's no reason means there's no cause in that. Yes, Mamita.
Is this like the prodigal son story? So the older brother is the sattvic person who is astonished that the prodigal son still gets favors just because he reforms his ways.
No. The prodigal son is the tamasic guy, and the son who's astonished is rajasic, and the father is sattvic.
Okay.
Because he holds nothing against him, right? It is that other chap who's holding something against him. So that's why when the lower you are, the more you see these differences.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
less the oneness, the more the difference.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Taruna.
Ma'am, so with the darkness example, 3 of them are in darkness. So does that mean we all are trying to reach to the light by hit and trial method, because we don't know where the light is?
If you're doing Vedanta, then you're going about it systematically.
Yes.
But everything else is yes, when it is hiddenness.
Right.
I mean, there is a knowledge there. It's saying if you do X and then you do Y and then you do Z. But we are not interested in doing X and Y and Z. We are interested in our own. We have our own comprehension of what will take us there. And so we go on trying all sorts of things. Every once in a while, we do something right. So we move a little forward. But if we studied what really took us forward and did those things, then we'll move forward. But we are not interested really in moving forward. We are interested in what interests us. Like, oh, this topic is very interesting, so I am doing this one. Or that bhajan is very interesting, so I am doing that. Or whatever. Or meditation is interesting. Or something you get caught up with. You're saying, stop. If I want to get from X to Y, let me first get my map clear. What am I doing now? What am I doing next? What am I doing next? What's my map? That kind of serious attempt is not always available, right? It's like, oh, today is sounding very interesting, so I'm doing it. Tomorrow something else.
Right. So first of all, there should be a recognition that we are in darkness. Then you have to make a serious attempt. That's what growing up means in a way. You have to
means beginning with saying, okay, what is it that I really want? Am I going to keep running after every exciting experience that comes along? Or am I going to say, okay, what is it that I really want? And I'm going to that thing. So that's the beginning stages of growth, where you say, okay, what do I really want? That is why people who are achievers in the world are often better off than people who are so-called spiritual. Because achievers in the world have to first start with what is it I want. Suppose he says, I want to be Wimbledon champion. Suppose he's decided that. Then can you imagine what kind of discipline goes into it? Now, where is that kind of discipline for us? We are going here, there, everywhere. If we say, come for the course, people will say, no, no, I'm too busy. So, we are not, we don't know what we want. There's no focus on what, according to me, is the priority. I don't know this. And so, I don't know who told you. Only told me, no, that you spoke to somebody about joining the course. I think you told me. I'm trying to remember who. I think you only, Taruna. And the person told you that yes, I want to join the course, but my friend is not there, so I can't join this time.
Yes.
You told me, no.
It was mentioned, yes, yes.
Okay. So this is what it is. This is our human existence. When I read that, it was a very philosophical thing, because this is our human existence. It's like, yeah, I'll go if my friends go. Sabke sab pagal hi hai. You know what I mean? It's like I mean, who Bharat told me that somebody said that are any of those people going? Those people are going or not going, but they are so dedicated to Vedanta, they are not going. How does it matter who is going and who is not going? You know what I mean? There is no focus on what you're doing. There is always all this other stuff fooling around. Yeah. Do I want to do it or do I not want to do it? That should be my only question. And if I want to do it, then where do I think it means anything? What is it supposed to be a stepping stone to? And then people read books on why am I not being successful? Why are you not being successful? Because you don't know what you want. How can you be successful? Because there is no target over there. So growing up, first stage, at least this much. That is why if you join a corporation, they will say your target is you have to get a turnover of X or Y or Z, and everybody run away. They say, oh my God, they're stressing us out. They're stressing us out? You don't have a target, how are you going to reach it? But then they have to do whatever it takes. If it means working 24 hours, 24 hours work. But we say, no, I want to be comfortable. Okay, don't make me do so much. You see, it's not goal-oriented. So first step is you become goal-oriented. And through that discipline that goal forces on us, we grow. Whatever that goal be, even if it's a selfish, self-centered goal to begin.
Yes. Thank you.
Somebody else had. Who's Mahesh? Is there a difference between vasanas and ignorance? Mahesh, why do you ask that? Vasanas and ignorance is exactly the same thing. These are all synonymous terms, right? Ignorance of the self, vasana, deep sleep, causal body, bliss sheath, all synonymous terms. No difference.
But you said the darkness is one. I was just wondering that, so the vasanas are different per person. So we're not in the same darkness. Some are dark in greater darkness than others.
No, I mean, that's how it appears to us at any point. Remember the example of the child who has run away from the mother's hand. he looks at the other child who's run further away and says, see, my brother is gone further away. I'm a good kid. There is no difference. They're both left the hand that they shouldn't be leaving and therefore in equal danger.
But the vasanas of the two children are different, right?
Mahesh, don't take
The one who is further away has a different vasana and the one who's near.
The darkness is exactly the same. That's the same question Deepak said he had, right? If you have in the past behaved in your ignorance, you have behaved in a particular manner in the past, that will find continuity. You just continue. It's like that water falling in a particular channel will just keep on going and going and going in that direction. So the differences, the so-called differences of evolution, are really differences only in our past actions. Our past actions have been of a particular kind. We'll just continue doing them. I don't know if you heard that very famous thing that it takes as much time to realize the self as it takes for a needle to pierce a rose petal. It takes as much time to realize the self as it takes for a needle to pierce a rose petal. And then we'll all say, that's impossible. What are you talking? I am not making all this stuff up. It's written in the scriptures. So what does that mean? It actually doesn't take any time at all. All you got to do is wake up. So that time isn't becoming a needle. Yes, Harry, you can say that. Preparation, preparation, preparation. Yes, preparation. But the thing is, it really doesn't take any too long as we want it. The problem is we don't want it. So the past can be nullified like this. In Atmabodha, he gives the example of the cave. He says that just like a cave which has lain in the dark for 1,000,000 years, the moment you strike a match, that cave is lit. So all the distinctions we are making they don't exist from the absolute sense. So is it different? No, it's the same. But it's all different. Yes, that is also true. So if you're looking at it from the level of the self, they're all exactly the same. There's no difference. Inside the light switch is either on or off. No, but they're all different. Okay, that is also true. And what accounts for the difference? Different past. You did a few different actions. I agree with some different actions. And now it appears different.
So, Janki, this means that a Swatik person may reach faster to the switch than the others. That's all.
No, it means nothing. Suppose LC, let us assume that you are very tamasic. And let us assume, for argument's sake, that Naim is very sattvic. Right? Naim is sitting on his aram kursi and he is not doing any work. But you are getting up in the morning and doing everything and blah, 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 blah. There's no saying that just because he is closer to the switch, it will mean that he will switch on the switch. No. There is no correlation. This is the amazing thing, no correlation. You may say, how is that possible? Okay, let us say that I am an uneducated person. I haven't studied at all. All right. Let us say that my brother has done his post-graduation. Now, both of us conceive the idea that we'll do our PhD. He's already done post-graduation. I haven't even entered school. Okay. And then he says, I'll do my PhD. I really should do my PhD. I'm going to do my PhD. In the meanwhile, let us say I took admission into school and I've gone to KG and the next year I've gone to pre-primary or whatever it is that a person will need to do. Did all that, did. Has now come to post-graduation. That other chap is still thinking, I should do my PhD, I should do my PhD. There is no correlation. There is a Dhirubhai Ambani who lived in a chawl. Okay, there are all the other Indian billionaires, or at least billionaires of that time. Okay, Dhirubhai Ambani began in the chawl. The other chappies began with a golden spoon in their mouth. He overtook them, he went beyond them. There's no correlation between our current state and how quick we are going to reach or not reach any destination. All depends on what I'm willing to do.
Okay.
So it's not just in spiritual life, it's in anything.
Thank you.
Momita, you had raised your hand?
Yes, Janki ji. So when we say that, so what we are doing here is not trying to be sattvic, not trying to change our gunas, but to aim surely for switching on the light, which is self-realization. So that the intensity of our desire for that is what is important, is what we should focus on, and not increasing, going step by step from Rajasic to Sattvic and so on.
No, not this you can't add. You will do whatever it takes to get you there. Whatever it takes. If it means that I need to go to the discotheque today, that's where I'm going. But don't you guys make it up. 9 next time will tell us, I couldn't come to the class. You told me that if I went to the discotheque, I will realize. No, whatever it takes, you're going to do that.
But again, there comes the problem of that specific knowledge. Even when we have learned about the principles, in real life, it becomes very hard to know what to do specifically in a context. Even with the knowledge of, like, maybe going to the discotheque is good. But overall, with that principle in mind, I cannot come to that conclusion in this specific case. That's what happened.
You cannot come to a conclusion. You have to come to a conclusion. You have to decide based on your goal whether it will take you there or not. If according to you it will take you there, you do it. If according to you it will not take you there, you don't do it. And 9 out of 10 times you know the answer to the question. If once in a while you don't know, you can always appeal to a superior intellect. But 9 out of 10 times you know. Do I need to get up in the morning and study to realize the self? What's your answer? Do I need to stay up late at night to realize the self? What's your answer? 9 out of 10 times you know. Do I need to keep my body healthy to realize the self? You know the answer.
Supposing it is a question like, do I need to break up a friendship because it's not conducive for my, for my growth? But then
I've already answered the question by saying it's not conducive for my growth. You have to find out whether it is conducive for your growth or not. The moment you say not conducive to my growth, answer is no, you have to break it.
okay, but sometimes I don't know whether it's actually not conducive or whether staying in that friendship will actually be conducive, because I will learn to be patient and giving. So then there is often a dilemma like that in a very specific instance.
So you have to come to a conclusion one way or the other. Sometimes we love to stay with the problem. We don't want to conclude because coming to a conclusion involves something that we don't want to do. not that difficult. This is not that I don't know how to apply the knowledge. It is I have two contradictory desires here. And instead of deciding, I'm sitting on the fence. And that's making it worse, because if you sit on the fence, then things are always uncomfortable. I mean, a fence is pokey, na? If you sit on it, it will poke you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
I don't know if I've been unhelpful, Mamita, but the thing is, you have to be harsh with yourself and say, okay, I've got to decide one way or the other. And having decided, I move. I'm not going to go on double checking on what I just did. It seems more a case of indecision rather than anything else. And indecision is the outcome of wanting your cake and eating it too. So this is the hard work that is involved. The hard work that is involved in this case is I must learn to make a decision, even if it's wrong. I'm going to take a call one way or the other. And if I'm mistaken, I will come back and rectify it. What else can I do? But don't do anything very dramatic, okay? That may not, I don't know. Since we don't know the exact details, I feel frightened to say anything. No saying what is understood out of that. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Deep Raj, you will fall and break like Humpty Dumpty. Deep Raj, who are you saying what to? Who is going to fall and break like Humpty Dumpty? None of us are eggs, don't worry.
He's talking about sitting on the fence, I think.
Okay, sitting on the fence, okay. Yeah, in either case, you will be uncomfortable, yes. Okay. Deepak Sethi. I'll come to you, Jay. Deepak Sethi?
Yeah. Janki going to LC's statement that the Sattvic person is likely to reach the light switch faster, wouldn't it be a valid statement, ceteris paribus, which means that both of them were making the efforts to go there because he's already closer, he's already done the distance. So if you invoke ceteris paribus, which is what perhaps was at the back of the mind, then this would be a valid statement that the person who is closer to the switch will reach faster.
Yes, but in practical life, it's never going to be like that. Is the whole story of the hare and the tortoise. Na? In the hare and the tortoise story, you don't say, let's invoke ceteris paribus, in which case the hare will win. Yes, that is true, but that's not how it happens. Jay.
Actually, the other way around. That's the only reason the tortoise won. Because the other one did not make the same effort that he was supposed to make. He rested under the tree.
So therefore, it's never ceteris paribus. I mean, in these cases.
That point is very well taken, that while it seems ceteris paribus, but in real life, that does not happen, rather than it being an exception.
Really. That is so true. I mean, that's so amazingly true. Even in the world, even in the classes you see, there are some people who are extremely sharp and they get it and all that, but no progress. There are some people who take time, who are struggling to understand, they make more progress. I mean, there is no explaining anything in this world. Beyond a point, you just give up and say that this is all a madhouse anyway. What are we explaining? Yeah, Jay.
Generally, the assumption is that one has to travel from tamas state to rajas state to sattva state through effort, relying on the intellect, using the discretion, and praying for the God's grace. Generally, the assumption is that Sattvic better fellow is much better than to be in the state of that Sattva guna is much better than other two gunas. No, Janki
Yes, but that is only when you remember that example of the child. One is 3 feet away, one is 6 feet away. The 3 feet fellow says, oh, see, that fellow is 6 foot away. It makes such a difference from the perspective of the child, but from the perspective of the mother, she wants them both to come and hold her hand. So from the absolute level, it's the same darkness. But for us, as we come in, we say, oh, now there's a difference. See, this person is so much better, I am so much worse, or I am so much better, that person is so much worse. All these are very, very minor differences and don't count. So what you're saying is right. We will have to move. The tamasic in us will have to become the rajasic. I mean, the tamasic aspect in us will have to become the rajasic, and the rajasic aspect in us will have to become sattvic. And then we feel very happy that we are sattvic. But sattva is not where we are supposed to reach. We have to go beyond sattva. If you're in sattva, you're still in darkness.
So it is a matter of all luck and grace?
No, of course not. It's a matter of how much you want it and what are you doing to get it. A matter of how strong is your desire and how ardent is your work. And that's true for everything in this world, not just this. This is a general, always applicable principle. How much do you want it? How much work are you doing? Because we all want lots of things. But the proportional work is not. Okay, so if I want to become Dhirubhai Ambani, but am I doing what Dhirubhai Ambani did? Am I like, is my whole life nothing but that one organization? Even that's what Sudhamurti says about Narayan Murthy. His life was our organization. I can't ask him, come with me sari shopping. He won't do it. Deep Raj, it's like 1 billion saying, look, I'm so much larger than 100. Wrong, but from the point of view of infinity, they are both minuscule. Yes, correct. Okay, so shall we continue up to this point? All clear? Different degrees of evolution or development are just different paths. So one can understand the truth at any time. Only past impressions have to be counted. Suppose a post is mistaken for a ghost. This misunderstanding will continue mechanically. If we had mistaken it to be a tree, we will continue to believe it's a tree until knowledge dissolves the ghost or the tree and only the post remains. Right? So there's a post. It's a dark night. There's a post. There's a khamba of some kind. Okay, now you looked at it and thought, oh, it's a ghost. Now, as long as you've thought this thought, this will continue. Maybe you looked at it and you thought, it's a tree. So if you thought it's a tree, then that will continue. And this ghost or this tree will continue until you realize there is only a post. In which case, the ghost or the tree or whatever it is, it goes in an instant. The moment you understand it's a post, all ghosts and trees and everything has disappeared. Harry, Burton Braley as a poem, The Will to Win, speaks to determination. At the end, he says, Nor sickness, nor pain of body or brain can turn away from the thing that you want. If dogged and grim you beseech and beset, you will get it. Yes. It's very, very simple, but we hardly ever realize what it takes. Okay, so coming back to the ghost, the post, there is a khamba, a post. You saw it as a ghost. Then you continue thinking it's a ghost. Or maybe you saw it as a tree. Then you continue to think of it as a tree. Or maybe you thought it was a person standing there. Then you continue to think it's a person. But if something happens and you understand it's a post, then the tree or the ghost or the person, it's a second, it's gone. Otherwise, earlier you had so many thoughts. Ghost, I'm so frightened, I have to run away. Maybe you did run away. Whatever feelings came about, whatever actions came about, all that whole samsara is gone the moment you realize it's a post. If we had mistaken it to be a tree, we will continue to believe it's a tree until knowledge dissolves the ghost or the post or the tree, and only the post remains. But for that, one has to be open to knowledge, or more correctly, the effacing of ignorance. When the past has a stranglehold on us, this openness becomes close to impossible. When the past has a stranglehold on us, the past is holding us like that, stranglehold. This openness becomes close to impossible. Why are we not rich or as strong or as anything as we would like? Why do our relationships not work the way we would like them to? There is something within us that prohibits it. We have to hunt it down and remove it. Hence, there can be no real formula for success or relationships or anything. You get that, right? What is stopping me is something within me. So there can be some external formula. There is no external formula. I have to find out what is stopping me. Because maybe for me, laziness is stopping me. Or maybe for me, ego is stopping me. Or maybe for me, indecision is stopping me. Maybe for me, jealousy is stopping me. Maybe my own belief in my greatness or in my lowness is stopping me. For each one, it will be something different. That thing, whatever it is, it's preventing me from seeing things as they are and therefore doing what is necessary. So we have to hunt it down, that thing that's stopping me. I have to hunt it down and remove it. Hence, there can be no real formula for success or relationships or anything. One finds millions of copies of bestsellers teaching success, but not millions of people who have become millionaires. It works for some. They tout it and the misunderstanding continues. You know, there's this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Think and Grow Rich. So many books there. And they're all bestsellers. Blink, whatever. All of them are huge bestsellers. How many people have bought the book and assumably read it? So where are all these Mahatmas that came out of these books if they've sold so many copies? How to win friends and influence people. So where are these Mahatmas who know how to win friends and influence people? Yet everybody read the book. And they'll tell you also, I read the book. Okay, you read the book, then show the result. No, they're happy to say, I read the book. Hare Baba. The books don't have to go, we don't have to go through the book. Books have to go through us. They have to change our personality. In a few months, 1 month, how much time is left? Not much left, huh? We're on the penultimate chapter. 9, 10, and then there's an epilogue. After a little while, you all will all say, I finished. How do you know what you know? So what? Kya tir mara? How much of it has become us is the question. Or you can say, I wrote it. Same thing. Kya tir mara? The big question is, how much of it has become us? That is the crux of the matter. People say, some people, no, I read this person, I read that person. Western philosophy says this, Indian philosophy says this, and all comparative religion. Kya, kya, दुनिया भर की चीज. Life is the same. Read one book. That book should become you. No point reading 1 million books. All the bestsellers in the world I've read. What is the consequence of all this? I'm not suggesting you don't read. But is it having the effect that you wanted out of reading them? Some people go from spiritual guru to spiritual. Some people go from book to book. Some people go from YouTube video to YouTube video. This is all entertainment going on. One finds millions of copies of bestsellers teaching success, but not millions of people who have become millionaires. It works for some, doesn't work for others. So that's it for today. Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari Om Janki ji.
Hari
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om Janki ji.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om Janki ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om Janki ji. Thank you.